Bienvenue en Inde, et plus précisément, bienvenue à New Delhi. En 1947, l'Inde devient indépendante. C'est aussi à cette époque où elle décide de moderniser son agriculture. C'est ce qu'on va appeler la Révolution verte. Ça a eu comme effet une augmentation importante de la population qui a quasiment triplé depuis les années 1950. N'ayant plus de travail dans les campagnes, la population s'est dirigée vers les villes, provoquant ainsi un exode rural massif. Et c'est comme ça que la population de New Delhi a été multipliée par 10 depuis 1951, pour atteindre aujourd'hui quasiment 17 millions d'habitants. La métropole de New Delhi a énormément de difficultés à faire face à cette augmentation rapide de la population.
Une des conséquences directes de ce phénomène a été la dégradation rapide de la qualité de l'air à New Delhi. C'est d'ailleurs à ce sujet que j'ai rendez-vous ce matin avec une experte des questions environnementales en Inde.
The data that we have for this city, for Delhi, shows that there is at least one death due to air pollution related diseases every hour in this city. Over the last 10 years, Delhi has actually tried to do a lot to control air pollution. Delhi has implemented one of the largest natural gas public transport program in this city. It has relocated polluting industry from the city. It has converted 2 power plants to natural gas power plant. They have also improved the emission standards for the vehicles and the fuel that we use in this city. Initially, we did see improvement in air quality, but we find that the air pollution levels has again begun to increase very rapidly. It's mainly because of increased dependence of people on personal vehicles.
Donc là on se trouve dans un tuk-tuk, un rickshaw. C'est un moyen de locomotion très apprécié en fait de la population de New Delhi. Donc on essaie aussi. Hein.
Outre le fait d'offrir une grande liberté de déplacement, le rickshaw est aussi un moyen de transport économique.
Already Delhi has about 7.5 million vehicles and we are adding about 1,400 vehicles a day. Now the reason why this has happened is that somewhere along the line we did not pay enough attention to mobility management of the city. How people travel, how they choose to travel. That even though cars have taken over the roads, but cars still meet only 14% of the travel requirement in the city. This means even today, majority of the people are either using a bus or they are walking or cycling or using a metro.
Le métro de Delhi est assez récent, il date de 2002. Il se compose de 5 lignes, donc une ligne express pour l'aéroport. Et chaque jour, il transporte environ 2,4 millions de passagers.
It's good that this city has now started to invest in the metro system, and the process is on where we are scaling up the network for metro. But we need to understand that the city cannot solve the problem with just one system. The metro scaling up will require a lot of other supportive measures. The metro ride is fantastic, but the moment we come out of the metro station, we are stranded because we have not paid attention to the last mile connectivity. The connection between the doorstep and the metro station will have to become even more efficient. Today, when we go around the city, we find that all the investment that is happening in the road infrastructure, it is giving priority to the movement of the vehicle. This is completely against the basic sustainability principles that must guide transportation planning in the city. We will have to design our roads for people and not for vehicles.
Quand on pense à New Delhi, on a du mal à s'imaginer des espaces verts. Et pourtant, là on se trouve aux abords de la centrale Rich Forest. C'est en quelque sorte le poumon de la ville. C'est une véritable forêt urbaine.
It is showing that the area under green is actually increasing in this city. And we are also quite fortunate to have this whole Aravalli range that is between Delhi and Haryana. So clearly that is important because in this city, which is one of the most polluted cities now in the country, requires its green lungs. Clearly, the future vision that we want for our city, for my city, is where we have clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and secure public health. And that will be possible only if we radically change our approach to urban planning and urban design.